Salvete Spectatores, it's Masopust back in Europa Universalis 4 in our Castile tutorial campaign. And in the last episodes we discussed a little bit the mechanics of the Holy Roman Empire, and right at the end the super strong event of the Iberian, whatever you pronounce it, wedding has taken place, and we formed a personal union over Naples and Aragon. Now there are a few types of overlordship there can be in the game. First, a personal union. That means that the monarch of our kingdom, in this case King Juan de Trastamara, is also the king of Aragon. They remain a separate country, but they're ruled basically by the same dude. If the king dies and the prestige is low of our kingdom, it can be possible that they declare independence and select their own king on their own. They also can declare independence by war. That means they just declare war on us and will attack us, and our goal is to take the enemy capital, in this case Valencia. And they can be supported by factions who can declare, before they declare independence, that they will support them in case they do. So for instance, if France says, okay, Castile is our enemy and we want to weaken them, they can support the Aragonese independence. Okay, let's have a look over here. Sweden is from the beginning of the game in a personal union under Denmark, and you can see here Sweden is more powerful than Denmark, and very often they will declare war on their overlords, and most of the time they are supported by either or both Scotland, Novgorod, also sometimes the Teutonic Order and the Hansa, basically the rivals and enemies of Denmark. They want to weaken this land, this country, this kingdom, so they declare that they will support Sweden. So we actually have to take care that Aragon and Naples don't have any supporters. Now, Naples is now at this point at the same level as Aragon. They're both our personal union partners, minor partners. So either one of them can declare independence and can be supported. There are other relationships like vassalage. The difference here is that they have their own king, but he swore fealty to us, in the case of Navarra here. And they also will pay taxes as a tribute, whereas Aragon, their economy remains untouched by us. We cannot decide what to do with them, and we also have more control over the vassal armies than over personal union armies. For instance, we can say that they should behave aggressively or protectively and select war goals for them, whereas the Aragonese armies will do as they think best in a war, although they will have to assist us. They may not even come to our aid if we fight in this province, they just may stay here if they don't like us really much. But Aragon really loves us, so there's no problem here. Same thing with... yeah, okay, they don't like us that much. We can improve relations because we have 3 diplomats, I just see. And let's check our missions, as always. What do we have here? We want to be papal controller, right? We have only 20%... oh, wait a second. Castile. Oh, right, we haven't spent any points yet. Okay, all of those guys spent 5 papal points in this career here. We only have 1/6 chance to become papal controller, so we might just abandon this mission and wait 1 year to select another one. I think one ledger I haven't talked about is this production interface. Okay, first here is an event that pops for all the European nations here, I believe, where basically we can decide between losing a little bit of prestige and paying quite a big amount, actually, of ducats and both admin and diplo power, but we will get 40 years of +1 prestige, which is actually very nice, so let's do that. And you can see here that now we're actually making prestige. Most of the time we will lose it because of the base decrease value here. But we have such interesting, such powerful modifiers that we are actually making prestige due to the last jousting tournament and also this guy here. Well, the production interface. You can of course build the buildings. I've talked about those, naval units and land units. And those four are not really building type of things, but there you can manage your country when provinces are important. For instance, if you want to make cores, if you want to send a missionary, if you want to decrease or increase local autonomy, and if you want to change culture. With all of those four actions, one single province is like targeted, and you could also do that by hand, but you have to click on every single one and check, for instance, the autonomy and if you can raise or decrease it. And via this ledger it would be more much easier. You can, for instance, go over here, local autonomy, then you can see, okay, autonomy is everywhere at 0 except here in Navarra. And then you can go over here and act however you like. Right, let's check our ideas and our technology. We need 200 more Diplo points to unlock the quest of the New World. That means we can recruit conquistadors and explorers, and they can, as I've mentioned before, explore the white territories, the white parts on the map. Burgundy is getting crushed by France and Austria. They're in separate wars, and also England attacks. This they should concern themselves with the provinces at home. I mean, look at this. Lollard heretics, English pretender rebels. They will install. Right. Okay. They start off with the Lancaster dynasty here. And due to some reason, the Portuguese dynasty of Avis took over. And now there is a war of succession going on apparently, and most of the time the pretender rebels will win in this War of the Roses. And it could either be a Lancaster or a York. And if you are interested in history and also Game of Thrones, you can see the parallels between the War of the Roses. Red rose for Lancaster, white rose for York. And if you look at the Lannister versus Stark rivalry in Clash of Kings and Storm of Swords, this is very, very similar. So it's basically a fact that GRRM took some ideas out of the War of the Roses here for his own rivalry. And he did that very, very perfectly. Okay, we can research the 5th military tech. Oh, this is a bad event that happens quite often. Either we get a stability loss or 33 prestige loss. And I'm gonna go with the prestige because prestige gives us some bonuses who are not that bad, but it's not actually a currency. Whereas if you lose the stability, we'll have to eventually pay 100 admin points to increase it again. And we're already at 0, so we would have to do it immediately. So let's lose the prestige. Getting below 0 prestige is bad, but if you have 50 or 80, it's not that big of a deal. Of course, it's a number and it's nice to have it, but I don't care at this point. Let's have a look if we can do a good mission. The rival of a rival and improve our prestige are always generic missions, but there we have Continue the Reconquista. This is a flavor mission. We need to secure Hispania by establish. I would say it should be by establishing a presence across the sea to the south. A few Christian cities, there should be safe protections for our realm. And that is also what Spain historically did. Up to this day, they still hold Melilla and Ceuta. And we have to own exactly those, and we will get a massive, massive reward of 10 army tradition and 100 admin points. This is very, very good. So, let's have a look here. Tangiers, Melilla, Veran and Ceuta. So basically those 4 provinces we have to own. This shouldn't be a problem because those nations are rather weak. They're medium. Morocco is not that bad, but the problem here is that they have a provincial modifier called increased coring cost. This holds true for some culture groups or some countries. It's basically an idea, a national idea here. One of those. And that means that if we want to integrate those parts into our realm after we have conquered them, we would have to pay double admin points for just integrating them, and this is, well, a little bit stupid. Now, I'm checking the diplomatic relationships. Tlemcen and Morocco are in here, and the problem is that Tlemcen is allied with the Ottomans and Morocco. This is both good and bad. Bad because the Ottomans are a strong powerhouse over here. They are far away, but they have a very strong navy and they could assist Tlemcen effectively. I mean, we are very strong too, but especially navy-wise, I think the Ottomans are stronger. We can check this with this ledger. Military, navies, and then I presume that the Ottomans are very high up, so I'm gonna select by force limit. And there's that. The Ottomans have 44 galleys. They should be able to deal with our 6 heavies easily, especially because we're in the Mediterranean here, so galleys got a combat ability. But Morocco is not allied with the Ottomans. So if we declare on Morocco, Tlemcen probably will join, but the Ottomans won't, because they're just an ally of Tlemcen. Now if we were to declare on Morocco, we have to take care that we do not select Tlemcen as a co-belligerent, because then they're treated as if we had declared war on them themselves. So they can call the Ottomans in. If we do not do that, they're just an ally of the target of Morocco, and they're only assisting, and it would be double the cost for us to take provinces of them. But we only want to take this one province, and it should be still possible. And the Mazab is this guy here. I don't care about it at all. So let's check the armies of Tlemcen, Mazab and Morocco real quick before we declare. Let's sort by country here. Morocco is somewhere in the middle. They have 15,000 units. Mazab has exactly nothing, and Tlemcen, oh, it was right here. Here, 11,000, so we are looking at 26,000. I have much more men, this is no problem. And, very important, I have Military Tech 5, which is very important. We get a new unit model, we get supply limit increase, combat width and infantry shock. And if you take a look at the technology map mode, they're at Tech 3 and I'll be at Tech 5. So I'm not only going to war with the bigger numbers, but also with the massive, more efficient armies. So this should be a very easy going. And here you can see this alert. If we click on it, we can click on either infantry or cavalry, and we can upgrade the infantry model here into either man-at-arms, longbow or Galowas infantry. I believe it's pronounced Galowas. And those 3 types are exactly the same concerning the pips, but they have different bonuses. The Galowas are very strong at the offensive, longbows are in the middle, and men-of-arms are defensive. Because we will be waging a war of aggression, we're gonna go with the Galowas infantry. And also we can change the Latin Knights model to the Chevauché model. I'm bad at French, I don't know how to pronounce those guys, but they are basically more offensive. Well, actually, they just trade defensive morale for defensive shock, but I think that's better. So let's just go with them. If you have to be careful, because if you redesign your army here, the morale of the new units will drop to 0, but that's no problem because ours were already at 0. It will take a few months for them to retrain. We can recruit another leader, and we need them because we want to have 2 armies. If we would combine them, the supply here, especially in the desert regions, would not be sufficient. So we're going to recruit a general here. Well, we cannot do that because he costs 50 military power and we only have 7 at the moment. But we could appoint our king, who is very crappy, as a general. This means that we get a free leader, basically. Wow. Actually a very good leader with 4 shock. This is very good. For the cost that if he's appointed to an army, and furthermore, if he's in battle, he has a higher risk of dying. But we actually want that, because look at this. Look at those guys. We don't want to have them. If you have a 555 general or even a 666 king, you may not want to appoint him as a general, because you want him to keep around your court or be the head of your kingdom as long as possible. Now, I'm going to combine all of my navies here. Select the transports. Move all of those guys to Cadiz. And move our navy together, because we don't want to get them separated here. We should be superior to the Moroccan and Tlemceni navy. No problem there. We could also become, if we have very, very much gold, we could become Defender of the Faith. This is indicated by this ledger. I don't personally like it, due to reasons, but let's have a look. Look at the bonuses. They're massive. We get a missionary, we get bonus papal influence, we get yearly prestige, war exhaustion decrease, which is very nice, also during war times, and morale bonus. The technology cost is for Western nations not really a problem, because as you've seen before, we are already ahead. The problem is that you will be called to war every time a Catholic, in our case a Catholic nation, is attacked by a non-Catholic nation. So you will be waging wars over and over and over. If you decline, or if you lose one of these wars, you'll lose the Defender of the Faith. And that means that you've wasted just 500 ducats for nothing. I'm not gonna do that. Because just if, for instance, Muscovy decides to attack Poland, for a reason whatsoever, we will be called into the war, and I don't want to fight wars thousands of kilometers away. Okay, this is our standard navy here, consisting of heavy ships and light ships. They will blockade the enemy ports. We have one problem here, that we have to actually transport... wait a second. Okay. If we are at war with Morocco and we want to transport our infantry over there, it will take a long time, because just naval invasion is very difficult, and furthermore, they'll have time to station troops exactly at the province we want to land our troops in, and then we get a massive penalty to, like a crossing penalty. So we can secure access here from Tunis. We're gonna do that. And now we basically can station troops within Tunis, which is very good. So let's do that. And resettle our navies here. I'm of course waiting until the morale here pops up to 100%. And you want to keep your units on a ship for a short time as possible, because they will suffer attrition there, and if the ship units get wrecked by another navy, of course all of your units on a transport are going to die. All of them. They're not retreating anywhere, they're just going to die. Now we have prepared everything, and we are going to declare war. We have to declare a war goal. We either want Tangiers, Melilla and Ceuta. Let's have a look if there is a difference between those three. No, they're exactly the same. So let's just take any one of those. It doesn't matter. Tangiers, oh wait a second. Trade? Yeah, Tangiers is the most valuable because they have the trade power here. We're not going to declare those two guys as co-belligerents. They will join, indicated with this green symbol here. If it's a red X, they won't join. Could be if they're in another war, or if they are on the brink of chaos in their nation, if there is a rebellion going on. Okay, we are at war. If we check here, in 1 second they should join. Shit. They didn't. Oh, they did. It just had to update. Right, okay. And we caught here a Moroccan navy directly in the hoof. And of course they're gone. There's another navy. And if we click on this little icon here, detach blockade, we can also press D. There will be ships selected to blockade this province. That's nice. Of course, Aragon and Naples had no choice, they had to join. Okay, never mind. We caught this Moroccan navy here. And I'm just gonna wait until this Moroccan fleet here goes away, because I don't want to fight them with my cogs. Cogs. Okay. Tlemceni navy here, of course, routed. Again, going to the Dutch blockade. This navy isn't that bad actually, so let's combine our navy. And naval engagements are very, very costly. We actually captured a ship here. Let's have a look. We captured a light ship, that's great. Okay. Naval engagements are very costly. The losing side will most of the time lose all of his ships, or most of his ships, if he doesn't retreat in time. Okay. So, oh shit. This was a mistake. I hope that the Tlemcen ships here do not wreck my transports. This was a grievous tactical mistake, but you see here, the numbers of the enemy ships are just dropping quickly, and I hope I can get there in time to assist the Tlemcen fleet. I selected the light ships separately because they are much faster than the heavy ships and they will reach the Tlemcen navy quicker. And I will lose some of my infantry here. This was stupid, actually. Oh my god. Don't do it the way I did, because I just lost 4,000 regiments, plus... Oh my god, this was stupid. Plus 4 transports. Holy shit. But, fortunately for us, we have loads of money, so we're just gonna retrain. Wait a second. I'm gonna go with a few cavalry units here. Let's recruit 4 chevauchés. And 4 more transports. Now, if we were a small nation, it would be difficult to rebuild those stuff, but we have so much money and we're making so much money, I don't care at all. Because 1 unit of cavalry costs 25, that's very expensive. But, as I said before, I don't really care. At this point, it was a tactical mistake and I'm pissed that you had to see me screwing up, but whatever. Let's just continue unloading troops here into Tunis clay. First I'm gonna destroy the enemy armies and then I'm going to try sieging the important provinces. Now, normal warfare. If you are selecting a province as the movement goal, they will suffer attrition just for reaching them. There's a little trick or an exploit that if you move over a province, they don't suffer it. If you then cancel the movement, they will just stay in this province. They will suffer attrition every month's tick, but not the second they reach this province. So that's a little bit of a gimmicky tactic here. We'll deselect 2 units, they will start sieging Veran, and if you do this with the army, you can just ignore the problem that occurs when you move into a province, that you get a siege attrition tick, and then you cancel the movement and you are already sieging. You need as many regiments as the fort level is in these provinces. The fort level is always 2, meaning earthen rampart, so we need 2,000 men to maintain the siege. If we drop below 2,000, we'll lose the siege progress indicated by this symbol here, then we're not progressing. Now, the AI has the possibility to sally forth with the garrison, and they could do it because they have 2,000 men, we have 2,000 men. But the AI just doesn't use it. It's a whole different tactic in multiplayer, where the players of course can do it. There's the Mazaban army. They're going to Ojida. Okay. Actually, wow, there's a huge army going on. Okay. I'm not too scared of the enemy fleet, enemy army here, but nevertheless they're a little bit frightening because they have such high numbers. And one very important factor if you decide you want to go to battle is the ground you're fighting on. There's of course a map mode here, simple terrain map mode, which shows in bright colors the different maps, map style areas here. All of those things here are highlands, meaning that the attacker gets a penalty for attacking. On flat ground, like here on the grasslands, nothing actually applies. The worst provinces are the mountains, for instance here in the Alps. The attacker gets a -2 roll. And also the combat width is decreased by 50%, meaning that the front line is only half as wide as it would be in a plain, meaning that smaller forces can hold off larger ones more effectively. So basically you never want to attack in a mountain, and you always want to be defending in a mountain. Good thing for us is that the AI apparently does not want to attack us. So I'll just be happy to siege my desired provinces here. And we need those two too, so I'm gonna go forward and select this. Then we can drop a number of units that is needed for maintaining the siege, namely 2. And with the rest of our army we can just progress forward. And I'm gonna do this trick again. Deselect, cancel the movement, and we're right away starting the siege. I put my big army in the center here, so I can bait enemy troops, and it's already working, I can see here. The AI is a little bit stupid in that regard, so they see, okay, they can attack here. Melilla is highlands, so we get the bonus here. And once the Moroccan army hits and starts the war, we're just going to reinforce with our strong general and our strong army here, and oh my god. Never mind, these 33,000 men could be a problem. So let's reinforce. Okay, this was a problem because... yeah, right. The enemy army was too big. They just stack wiped our army instantly. And if I am not careful, this could happen to the other ones too. Now Koita is also highlands, that's good. So we should get a bonus here. And the morale is of course weak, and we actually... okay, let's talk about combat a little bit. Now the armies have engaged. You can see here that the enemy gets a penalty for crossing into highlands. This is shown also here. Then there are 3 phases of fire and shock alternating, and it always starts with the fire phase. There are 3 days with fire phase and then 3 days with shock phase. In the fire phase, the bonuses of the generals are applied. We have a 2 bonus to fire. The enemy apparently has none, so we get an extra 2 dice roll. For the enemy, the terrain penalty is applied, and then there's actually a dice rolled on every side from 1 to 9, and we get very lucky here, hitting 8 while the enemy gets 1. Now at the beginning of the game, the fire phase is not important because we only have a few skirmishes, and you can see by the numbers they're dropping significantly higher than ours, but not on a great scale. Now we're in the shock phase, and we rolled a 1 and they a 0, so we're still better, and our massive bonus to shock due to our general is applied. But the biggest problem for the Moroccans here is their morale. They're already down nearly half, and if they reach 0, they will rout, no matter how big the odds are for them. So let's hope that we still get lucky. Again rolling the better dice in the fire phase. And again the better dice in the shock phase, so we are just obliterating the Berber, Moroccan, Algerian army here. Although they outnumber us 3 to 1, they will get wrecked if this continues the way it does. Here actually the enemy rolled much better dice, but because we first have the shock bonus, second have the high morale, and third have more intact regiments, they're still suffering the same attrition, nearly the same as we did before. Okay, that's rather balanced at the moment. And I can see that I will win this battle. The morale is all but gone. On the next tick there will routes. Preparing to pursue them with this army. And we can actually hunt them, because they'll always rout when they lose. And if at some point we catch them with a morale at 0, the whole army will just disintegrate, no matter how big the stack is. Okay, we won this battle. Here you can see what we gained out of it. We gained army tradition and prestige. Due to some reason, the losing army always gets more army tradition. I have no idea why. And we collect war exhaustion, considering the losses of the units. And war exhaustion is displayed in the stability ledger here. And if it's basically an indicator how war weary your population is. And it means, okay, the peasants have bled enough and they are just rising in revolt. If this goes up and up and up, it can go up all the way up to 20 army war exhaustion here. And basically then you're screwed. Okay, with this happy note, we will end the episode here, and I'll see you soon.